Oh man, why? Why do I have to do this? Okay, so it is currently February 5th. This video will go up the same afternoon, and when I woke up this morning and immediately reached for my phone and opened up Instagram, because that is a healthy morning time routine, I saw that Fender came out with a brand new series of guitars, the Fender Standard line. Built to accompany players on their formative music adventures, the series sets the standard for the Fender experience. A bold statement, to say the least, that a $600 guitar is supposed to set the standard for the experience with a company that used to be synonymous with luxury instruments. Emphasis on used to be, but we're talking about a Fender for 600 bucks. A guitar not badged with Squier, but Fender. And of course, because innovation never rests, you get such things as a black P-bass or a sunburst Stratocaster. And I've had people DM me, I swear to God, independently from me saying I want to make a video about this, saying what kind of fucking plywood is this thing made out of, referring specifically to the Sunburst Stratocaster. And you want to know the reason it looks like it's made of terrible, low-quality plywood? Because it's a 4-piece body. Now, to put this into some level of perspective, with these budget instruments in like an Indonesian factory, these are Indo guitars, the smallest body blank that you can get, so just the block of wood that your body gets carved out of, is Strat-sized. Obviously, it gets bigger than that. You know, you get into like jazz-bass territory, that's significantly bigger. Or when, like guitars, you have Explorers. The Explorer body needs a significantly bigger blank. The smallest you can get is a Stratocaster. Those are not usually 4-piece, right? Even the cheapest bullshit is 3-piece at worst, usually. But that's not even technically what bothers me the most, because, okay, it's a mediocre-looking $600 Strat. The market is literally flooded with those, but why badge it as a Fender? Because Squier exists, and Squier, up until now, has gone almost up to $600. I think the highest-end Squier Strat, or Squier guitar that you can buy on Thomann right now, is around 550 euro, that is, so I don't know if that's more or fewer dollars, I'm really not sure, I'm sorry. But it's around 500 to 550, which means there is now literally a $100 price gap between Squier and Fender. And stuff badged as a Squier can still be fantastic. Hold on. If you've been around for a while, you'll know I love my modded Squier Absorber guitar. This is a Squier Sonic Stratocaster as the bass, and this, without the upgrades, obviously costs 160 euro. That's like one of the cheapest Stratocasters on the market, and it's great. But you buy it going at it with expectations of a Squier. These new guitars, the Fender Standard Series, are so clearly made for people to whom the brand name is more important than the actual quality of the guitar. They want a Fender to have a Fender. But there are better Squiers out there than these Fenders now, or there always have been, because the Fender Player and Player 2 series always have kinda sucked. But specifically, this new Standard series is completely beat to shit by everything Squier, because not even those are crappy 4-piece bodies with horrible looking wood underneath a semi-transparent finish. It's a mystery to me why they would do this when Squier exists. It's like if Lexus made a Toyota Camry. Why? Why would you do that? That's why Lexus exists. Because one is associated with luxury and actually needing to put some money on the table to get something good, and the other is made for people who don't have as much money and need a tool to get a job done. But if Lexus suddenly came and said, okay, we're gonna put a $1,200 price gap between us and Toyota and make a worse car for the money, why would you buy it? Why would you buy one? What's the point in that, besides being able to say that you drive a Lexus or play a Fender? Like, for the past couple of years, proper core Fender has been edging closer to the Squier price point anyway, while also edging the Squier stuff upwards, which that is fine to a certain extent. Obviously not if you're going to pull an Epiphone and have an Epiphone for like $1,800, but if you're staying underneath like that Fender Player $700-800 threshold, that's perfectly fine, and the Squiers are amazing for that money. But why this? I don't understand. I don't get the thought process, and especially calling it the Standard series and saying you did that because it sets the standard for the Fender experience. I sure hope this doesn't become the new standard for the Fender experience, because it looks terrible and it's built in Indonesia. And I'm the biggest advocate for a factory or a country where something is made not being a determining factor in whether or not it's good. But Fender saying that this is the standard for their experience? What? Why? I mean, the Tom DeLonge guitars, I made a video about those, like, right around the time that they came out, those, like, Starcasters, I believe. There was some mild outrage about those being basically Squiers badged as Fenders and priced as Fenders because they're Indo-made, but they've now changed strategies and are not just selling what is technically just a Squier, effectively at a Fender price point badged as a Fender, but they are now selling literally just Squiers, rebadged as Fenders at a Squier price point for people who just want to be able to, at first sight, have a Fender, but then you pick it up and it's absolute fucking junk. 4-piece Stratocaster. What? You know what people want from us, bro? They want terrible guitars, but they want them to look exactly like what we've been building for the past 60 years. They want no innovation, but they want it for $600. Stop it. Stop it. And all the Fender artists, like people who don't make reviews or anything, who are just players endorsing Fender, have been going crazy over this shit online. Go, oh, the standard series, it's revolutionary. It's a black Stratocaster. You're playing a black Strat. I know they gave you one and you're not a reviewer, so you don't feel a professional obligation to, like, be 100% honest about how you feel about it because you're just there to play music and not to actually review stuff, but I swear to God, and I am gonna try one of these as soon as I can, right? Obviously, it came out like fucking this morning. I don't know, might have come out a day or two ago. I saw it this morning for the first time. There was no way to get one in my hands quick enough for me to make this video. I will try one as soon as I can, but what is there to try? It's a cheap Stratocaster, badged as a Fender, to completely ruin even the last illusion that Fender is somehow associated with some level of luxury. Please rethink your business strategy. This is not it. I've not seen a single bit of genuine good feedback for these, outside of people who are just clearly being paid, or at least just being given free shit constantly by Fender in order to say positive things because they aren't reviewers. I've not seen a single person who reviews gear for a living say anything positive about these. Some have been silent, some have said, what the fuck is this? Because what is it? What is it? This is your 17th time making a cheap HSS Candy Apple Red Stratocaster, or a black P-Bass. It's a budget black P-Bass. We've had that already. I've just opened up the Thomann pages for the Squier Sonic P-Bass and the Fender Standard Series P-Bass. For comparison, there's about a €480 price difference between these two. One has a Laurel fingerboard, one has a Maple. That's not a quality difference, that's just a color difference. Squier has a synthetic bone nut, which is effectively just kind of plastic. Like, the Tom DeLonge stuff had a synthetic bone nut too. That could be something like Graphtec, but then they'd say it, so it's kind of just fancy plastic. And then the Fender Standard has a Mikata nut, which is sort of carbon-ish material, I believe. Squier has a single layer white pickguard, 3-ply black pickguard on the other one, as if that costs any more money to make. Both have chrome hardware, both have the vintage style tuners. Yeah, maybe the Fender stays in tune slightly better. You know what? Buy the Squier Sonic, buy tuners for $200 and you've still saved at least $250 and have the same thing. The pickups aren't gonna sound any better because it's the same Indo trash. It's made in the same place. If you buy this, you are stupid. You are an idiot. If you buy this, I make fun of you. I will ridicule you publicly if you purchase this over a Squier that costs at most $400, at most, for almost identical specs, or at least upgradable specs while still saving so much money. Don't buy this. And Fender, don't make it. Good night.